Today, we have three stories on the states people are really moving to, Fortnite in your car, and the story of one venture capital firm who thinks there's a massive opportunity outside of Silicon Valley. Hi, this is Chris Berry. I'm president of OhioX.
And hi, this is Jeff Leo Herman. I am the CEO of the Youngstown Publishing Company. Each week in 7 minutes or less, you're going to hear about the latest news and insights on companies and people driving technology and innovation across the great state of Ohio.
So if you're a business, civic, or public sector leader focused on Ohio's economic growth through technology and innovation, then you're going to want to stay tuned for our three most important stories in Ohio tech this week. We have a story about the real cities that tech talent is moving towards. So if you've been on Twitter at all recently, you've seen that Miami, Florida, Austin, Texas, they get all the headlines, they get all the buzz about where people are moving to. But according to some LinkedIn data from the Big Technology newsletter, it's not the cities that you'd expect. So number one is Madison, Wisconsin, which saw a 75% increase of tech workers.
Wow.
Number two on the list is Cleveland with 20% increase. The other ones of the top five are Sacramento, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Hartford, Connecticut.
Sometimes one data set doesn't tell the entire story, but didn't you also post something about U-Haul? And there's data validation from U-Haul as well, as far as movers are concerned.
Yeah, so U-Haul just put out their own study or their own information from their own U-Haul data, and it was the ranking of the 50 states where people are moving to. And Ohio was 4 on the list. Obviously, that's just U-Haul. That's just people that are renting U-Haul vehicles. But number 50 was California. Number 4 was Ohio. The other top 5 states were places in the South, kind of Texas. So, really warm weather. But for Ohio to be, again, top 5 in this LinkedIn data, top 5 in U-Haul, it's really pretty cool to see.
You have to excuse me a second. I'm going to go play Fortnite in my car. Now, the second story. So, yes, while there's a Fortnite angle here, and for everyone with kids, Fortnite, I'm sure it's something you're sick of hearing about. But this week at the Consumer Electronics Show, obviously CES, annually held in Las Vegas, the biggest trade show in the world, was held online. And General Motors used CES as their major launch of their entire strategy for the foreseeable future. And so it's exciting to hear that Mary Barra, CEO of General Motors, spoke to the all-electric future, which hinges on, you guessed it. Can we talk about Lordstown a little bit more?
Let's talk about Youngstown. This is the
all right.
segment.
Ultium battery cells. So General Motors is plowing more than $20 billion into electric vehicles, of which 10% of that investment, $2.3 billion, goes into the Lordstown Ultium plant. The cells use a rectangular pouch configuration, meaning if you stack them, you can build a truck, or if you're laying them out kind of horizontally, you can build cars. So very flexible, modular, kind of like Legos. I have Legos in my mind from that standpoint. So lots of flexibility for that battery platform. And, they also spoke to new heads-up display capabilities. And so speaking to Fortnite, a 33-inch display in which Epic Games' Unreal Engine, which is the same engine that presents the Fortnite, imagery and 3D rendering system, will be actually part of what's inside the Cadillac's Lyric model. And then the third announcement, which I think it got the least amount of play, but I almost think it's the biggest announcement, BrightDrop. It's an ecosystem of smart connected products and electric vehicles for logistics. And so they are delivery vehicles and smart pallets. And so they're going to be unrolling this BrightDrop logistics system.
Yeah, that is really cool. And that'll take us to our third story for this week. And it's a article interview with TechCrunch and the two founders of Columbus headquartered Drive Capital. So about 8 years ago, investors from Silicon Valley, Mark Kwame and Chris Olson, left Silicon Valley, one of the biggest, most successful firms out there, Sequoia, to start Drive Capital in Columbus. They said it wasn't an easy decision. Leaving California wasn't really fashionable at the time. They were definitely ahead of their time. But today, it's really paid off for them. And they look like they had a vision that they saw before anyone else. So today, Drive now manages $1.2 billion. They have 9 investors. They get interest, they said, from 7,000 startups each year. And some of their companies, portfolio companies, are starting to break out. They were early investors in Root Insurance, which IPO'd earlier, is out of Columbus. Olive is another one that was recently got their latest valuation at over $1 billion. So this is a team ahead of their time. They saw the opportunity in places outside Silicon Valley. So in story 1, we talked about where tech workers are leaving. This is a couple tech experts that left Silicon Valley, San Francisco, came to Columbus, came to Ohio, put a thesis on middle of the country startups and technology, and they're seeing massive successes.
So it looks like there's now will be a magnetism or a pull towards more opportunity here for within the Midwest and more specifically within Columbus and the state of Ohio itself.
I talk to people all the time. It seems like that they're moving from one of the coastal hubs. And it's to have that roadmap, to have those examples of success that you can leave and find just as much success, maybe even more here in Ohio, here in Columbus or Cleveland or Youngstown or Cincinnati.
As much as I love LinkedIn and their data, I think the U-Haul data is cooler because entrepreneurs are hustlers and we are do-it-ourselfers and we rent our own U-Haul trucks, right? We don't call 2 men in the truck. So
the last move I did, I had a U-Haul. It's been a while, but
I'm sold.
That was a good wrap up
right
of our 3 stories this week, talking about where tech workers are going, talking about GM stuff with Lordstown Motors in our weekly Youngstown segment, and then also a really cool interview, which we'll be putting in the show comments on LinkedIn between TechCrunch and the investors of Drive Capital. But until next time, Jeff, we will have more to update on Ohio tech and innovation and all the excitement that's happening.